Hi, everybody. We're going to get started now. Can everyone take a seat? Can everybody take a seat? We're going to get started. Okay. So, welcome. Welcome to Women in Localization, Silicon Valley. It's our birthday, Ava told us. It's a rebirth of the Silicon Valley chapter. So, welcome everybody to Women in Localization and to SurveyMonkey as well. I'm glad you guys could come. It's great to see old friends and new friends and meet new friends as well. So I'd like to get started. Just to give you an update on our schedule for tonight. We're going through the introductions now, and we're going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to go through introductions. And then we're going to have 3 speakers on localization tools. We're going to have Mojito Box, we're going to have Lilt, and we're going to have MemSource speak. And we'll see some demos and some decks as well. And then that's going to take us about an hour. And then we're going to have, starting 8, we'll have some more networking and the food and drinks in the back. And we're going to wrap up by about 8:45. So I don't think I introduced myself. That's terrible. I'm Michelle Carlson. I'm the new chapter manager for Women in Localization Silicon Valley, and I lead localization here at SurveyMonkey. So I'd like to bring up my leadership team. We have Sabine, Hannah, and Magdalena, and I'm going to have each of them come up and tell you guys about their role in our leadership team, and also maybe a little bit about themselves as well.
Okay, I'll start. Yeah. Thank you so much, Michelle. It's a pleasure to be here. Welcome to our first event. I work at eBay, where I manage the team of language specialists. I've been there for about 13 years. And I've developed over the years a true passion about mentoring. So the next few months, my mission will be to create a mentoring community with this chapter. So more to come, more news. Stay tuned.
All right.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah and I work at Box. I manage globalization efforts there, and here in this chapter I'm helping with social media activities, so all the reminders that come from me, so if you see anything strange there, it's my fault. Yeah, stay tuned for new announcements because we have a lot of events coming up for you guys, and yeah, I encourage everyone to be very active because we really want to hear your feedback about the chapter's activities. And Magdalena.
Hello, I'm Magdalena Enea, and my role in Women in Localization, the Silicon Valley chapter, is community manager. And I greatly enjoy that role, and I hope to know you all a lot better in the process. I hope you recommend us to friends. And please don't hesitate to contact me through Meetup whenever you'd like to, or whenever you have questions. Also, I am a linguist by profession, was almost, before I co-founded High Tech Passport, I'll say a bit more about it in a few minutes. Okay, by the way, I'm its Vice President for Business Development. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, we're very excited. We're working hard to bring you guys great events in the future. And as Hannah said, we really want your feedback. We want to get to know you guys and what kind of events you want to hear or what you want in the future. And also locations as well. So at this point, I'd like to introduce the Women in Localization board members. We have 2 of our founders here today, Ava and Sylvia. So Ava, did you want to come up? I want to thank them so much for all of their support in establishing the chapter, and also just throughout the years, the 8+ years of women localization, which I've benefited from myself greatly. Eva?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. All right. My name is Eva Klaudinova. I'm one of the co-founders of Women in Localization and the current chairwoman. And since Michelle was thanking our board members, I would like them to stand up. We have 30 other board members here. Sylvia, who is another co-founder, Katel, and Elena. So thank you so much, ladies, for coming. And as Michelle mentioned at the beginning, she stole my thunder a little bit. It is our official electronic birthday because exactly 8 years ago, we founded our LinkedIn group and started collecting membership for a very small organization that was supposed to be a local networking organization called Northern California Women in Localization. And I want to tell you a small story, not going to take too much time. This whole idea originated when 5 women met in a wine bar in San Mateo and decided they wanted to start a small networking organization right here in Silicon Valley. We drank a lot of wine, ate a lot of pistachios, and came up with a charter and a mission and a way how we want to track members. 8 years later, we didn't set up to be a big global organization, to be part of the industry and have chapters all over the world. It was really an idea of a few women who wanted to band together and do something for other women. And the point I'm trying to make is you don't need to think that unless you start something big and amazing, it's not worth it. All big things started with one idea and a few really enthusiastic people who wanted to make a difference. And that's what Women in Localization represents. That's what our newly created Silicon Valley chapter represents. And that's the idea I want to leave you with. Start small, try to do something for yourself, for your teammates, for your colleagues, for other people out there, and great things will come down the road. Thank you, and thank you, Michelle, and the whole Silicon Valley chapter management team for your first inaugural event.
Thank you so much, the board and Eva. So first I just wanted to say thanks to SurveyMonkey for hosting the event. My boss is around here, Luis Franco, so thank you, Luis. And I also want to thank High Tech Passport for supplying all the food and beverages. Some of it is actually homemade, which is amazing. And at this point, I'm going to have Magdalena from High Tech Passport come up and just tell you a little bit about High Tech Passport.
High Tech Passport is better known as HTP in the industry, and it was founded in 1992. So we are quite young, right? 24. We are a very tight-knit team, very multicultural, and we span 3 continents. We like to work together and play together, and we do it quite well. We love our work. We are dedicated to our clients. And last but not least, we enjoy being different and having diverse backgrounds. I would just like to tell you a little bit about the Silicon Valley team and their enthusiasm for Women in Localization. As soon as I made my commitment to the new organization known, they easily followed suit, as I kind of know they would. And many of us joined us today, and they have these tags, you can easily recognize them. And they did everything, all the organization, all the food, the drinks, the decorations, everybody came up with another idea. And this is the way we work together. That's very, very typical of us. You should have seen us today at the company. It was a beehive. And I would like to thank, first of all, our team for all this. You can talk to us anytime. We are willing to answer. and even share recipes in case somebody is interested in our home cooking. And I would not like to tell you much more about High-Tech Passport. I keep saying it's the best kept secret in the Valley, a very special company. So if you'd like to find out more, just let us know. In the meantime, thank you for being here and enjoy your night.
Alrighty, so now on to the event, the localization tool event. All right, so tonight we have 3 speakers and we're really excited. Just great people and great companies. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call them up one by one and they're going to speak for about 15 minutes and also perhaps give us a demo. The first speaker is going to be Javier Diaz from España. And just to give you a little bit of background around Javier, he's a business development manager at MemSource. He's passionate about the translation technology, business growth, and international relations. He has worked many years in international trade, sales, and also marketing positions in Miami, Spain, and Germany. He's a native Spanish speaker from Oviedo, Spain, and he holds a law degree from the University of Oviedo, Spain.
Correct.
So welcome, Javier.
Hi. Hi, everyone. So I see that everyone can hear me now. Yeah? Fine. So as Michelle was saying, I'm Javier. I'm Spanish, and I work for the company MemSource, okay, translation platform. Before I start presenting my tool, I wanted to thank you, Michelle, for inviting me. Thank you very much. And Magdalena, of course. Where's Magdalena? Yeah, raise your hand. Thank you very much for inviting me. You know, guys, that I live in Prague. I came all the way from Europe for this event, so I'm really, really happy. We will recommend you, don't worry, okay? And, well, I wanted to, you know, I flew all the way here to show you, like, in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Michelle was like, don't go over 15 minutes, because she knows that I can talk a lot. So I said, like, let's stick to 10. You got it there. Right, thanks. So, and I'm not going to give demos now. I'm just going to go through a presentation and just to give you some bullet points, some basic ideas on what we do and why I'm here and what we're trying to build in the future, okay? So let's begin, right? Let's go here. I prepared this presentation and I said, like, before I get to talk about MemSource, let's see what, if I can, you know, in a slide, in a single slide, catch up and see what the problems of these guys here in the Silicon Valley might be while localizing or while working, basically, right? So let's see if you are finding some of these issues that have been changing, right? Localizing first in the past, websites and UIs has turned now into localizing all those different aspects in the company, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Sabine. You gotta know about that, right? Okay. So I just put them here. It's like, does everybody like agree with me that these are some of the issues that you might be facing while localizing? Anyone? Raise your hands. Good. Thank you. So what I wanted to talk about is like what our solution can do to be adding more and more languages, right? As you see here, you start with perhaps with a few languages, and then you go adding, and then you have to find a scalable solution, a scalable way of adding more and more languages, right? And then we also think that we also have seen through our experience that when you are localizing, you have to improve your turnaround in times, right? You have to be always delivering on time. It's got to be done 24/7, you know, it's non-stop. And then there are some call it some problems and some breaks in the process, right? At the end of the presentation, I'm going to talk about two case studies that we're now dealing with, that we've helped with MemSource, okay? But basically, what we've seen so far in these 6 years that we've been in the market is that people have CMS, people have TMS, vendors and translators, but there's a gap there. There's a problem there. There's a way that complicates stuff, right? And that's where MemSource comes. That's where MemSource can help, like helping to solve that, all right? So what are we? First of all, a complete solution. MemSource is built on the translation memory. Okay, we feature translation memory, terminology. We can integrate with machine translation as well. We're a full solution, and there's something that I point out is vendor-free. We're completely vendor-free technology, okay? You can use it the way you want. You're not to work with a precise LSP, for example, right? It's a centralized solution, okay? You have full control of what you're doing. You have full control of your data. It's an online solution. You just upload all your files, all the things that you're going to work with into the platform, and you provide secure access, okay? It's scalable. That's something that I'm hearing all the time, especially from some of our users here in the Valley. It's like, we like it because it's really easy to use and very scalable, okay? And it's transparent, we call it that way, okay? So the next slide that I have here is just a little bit to brief, some of the features that we have. Main feature, we support over 50 different file tabs. We always hear from translators, from project managers, from engineers that it's super easy to use. It's very intuitive. It's got like not a lot of ticking around, but just very straight to the point kind of tool to use, okay? Of course, we have advanced features such as the tweakings in file settings that you can tweak the way you want, project templates, customizable workflows. It's mobile friendly, and you can work as a PM and as a project manager. I have a video that's like, it's a bit crazy, and you'll see, because it's a 2-minute video briefed in 20 seconds. So let's play it. It's the creation of a project. If I can brief the creation of a project that takes 2 minutes into 20 seconds, means something. And that's it. That's gonna be, it's a bit fast. I told my marketing people, don't do it that fast, but it's gonna be like that. Boom. That's the creation of a project in MEMSOS, okay? Okay, it's a 2-minute video brief into 20 seconds, okay? But it gives you an idea on how fast and easy to use the tool is. Okay, that's what I wanted. That's why I said, like, okay, put those 20 seconds there, and I just manage my way out of there. Okay. So I just wanted to show you this is how it looks as well. This is the dashboard, how the platform looks itself, right? And we feature two here. Is another slide that I wanted to show you. What we feature, 2 different workbenches. We're an online solution mainly, of course, but we also have offline capability via a desktop low battery. Okay, and this is another video that I think I'm gonna skip. Forget those 20 seconds again. But because I think that the next slide oh, sorry, can you guys see? Because this is what we think that MEMSOS is about. MEMSOS is a tool that automates all the translation workflow, okay, all the localization workflow. How do we do it? Via what we call an automation widget. I'm going to show you in another 20 seconds what an automation widget is right after this. But it's basically an on-screen application that we have developed. It's exclusive, in which you basically drag and drop files into our platform only. It's based on templates. Files are analyzed against the translation memory. You can get a quotation. You can just accept those projects and have the whole project launched, okay, with just a single drag and drop of a file. Okay, so this is the video. Please don't get scared if it goes too fast, but it's my colleague. This is how it looks and how it works. You basically drag and drop your files there, and you get your projects done from the uploading of the file to the to the creation of the work, assigning of the linguists. Let's see it there, for example, attaching the translation memories, analysis versus translation memories, terminology. You can customize this up to the point, as I'm saying, that the work can be triggered by just a drag and drop of a file. Okay, and that's something exclusive from MEMSOS. That's one of the features that is making us like boost up our results. Another thing that that our users find really cool is that we're fully API based. Okay, I think it was like around half of the words that are pulled and pushed through our platform are driven via the APIs. Okay, so we're very, very strong. There's a lot of companies, a couple of companies here in the Valley as well, that use MEMSOS and have it integrated with their own CMS and their own tools inside, and they basically just they don't even see what's behind. They don't even see MEMSOS. Okay, so that's very important. Can be connected to any CMS and webhooks for development. Okay, forget about it. And this is the last 20 seconds video, okay, I swear to God. This is just 3 examples in 20 seconds of 3 users of MemSource that use it in an integrated way. They have created their own technology built on top of MemSource, okay? And the first is our Danish LSP user, which has created their tool, which is called MindLinks, okay? It's built on top of MemSource, has all their localization tools built around our translation platform, okay? Oh, sorry. Did I go back? Oh, yeah, let me go again. And as you can see, they have integrated, for example, the automation widget, and then you see what they need to see. Gengo as well is integrated with MemSource. For example, it's a very famous localization company from Japan that has built on top of MemSource. And the last one, and really, really cool example, it's Acromedia, which is a subtitling platform. And what they did is they needed a translation memory. They talked to us, and we built we all created an integration, and they have a solution which allows them to translate subtitles in real time using a TM built on MemSource, okay? What we do, what people achieve by using MemSource is managing very complex translation chains, from the creation of projects in a real-time environment to the managing of vendors, even to freelancers, okay? That's what you can achieve if you use MemSource, all in real time, all working online, of course. MemSource allows you to leverage machine translation. That's okay. I will not start much on that. I think it's important, the reporting, I wanted to point it out because it's really important. We have really advanced reporting features, okay, that can show you how many language pairs you've used, what is the amount of money that you spend in several, in different languages, or there's a very large amount of reporting that you can do on MemSource, okay? Privacy, it's a SaaS platform, but it's completely, everything you do is private. You have all the data under control. It's all completely private. Security, ISO certified, that as well. Well, I just want to show you how, with this slide, how fast, fortunately, thanks to my work as well, MemSource is growing. That we're experiencing super huge growth. So yeah, thanks to my work as well. And then just to show you how we've grown in terms of words, okay, run by through our platform. And this is important. This is what I wanted to show you. Just 2 quick case studies. And one is GoDaddy, which is probably our most known user here in the Valley, right, Magdalena? Probably it's the one they know us most here in the Valley. So we started working with GoDaddy just 4 months ago, 3-4 months ago, okay, and they created their own localization tool built on top of MemSource at a very reasonable price. And this is the situation they had before using MemSource, okay, which is probably a scenario that some people might be recognizing here. The enterprise user in the middle with a CMS, a TMS, okay, their own stuff, and working with 2 separate companies, 2 separate vendors, localizing a huge amount of content, and losing, for example, here, having to fix the same mistakes because they didn't have any online or real-time collaboration features. You know, unfortunately, they weren't able to synchronize their work with vendors as well. And you know, the TM had to be clean, updated. They were spending lots of time, right? And then I came into their lives, and then I was able to help them with that. I was able to help them providing the technology in which they can coordinate and work in real time with 2 vendors, actually at this point, sharing their translation memories, sharing their resources, not running into mistakes, and saving them a lot of time, okay? And this is the first case. I still have 2 more minutes, so I'm gonna then present the other case that it's important for us as well. Is Danfoss, who also uses, you guys know Danfoss? It's a very, very big Danish company that I think is Danish, right? They do machinery. They're all over the world. They're over 20,000 workers, something like that around the world. It's a very, very large corporation. And they had some issues there as well. They were working internally with a translation team, sort of as an internal LSP, and managing with vendors. So they were, you know, not really having control of what was going on and not having a good coordination between both teams. And well, we were able to help them with that, to work to make Danfoss and their vendors and the freelancers and everyone collaborating with this huge company and work in the same environment. And and that's how we could help them. Okay, so that was my 13 minutes presentation. I still have 2 more minutes, and it's just to thank you all. Thanks for listening to us. And the last thing, Madalena told me not to forget about this. It's like we'll be around the area, me and my colleague, until next Tuesday, and we'll be happy to demo the software for you at any time. I'll be around, so just I'll be asking. I was very good at asking people if they're one of my friends. So I'll ask you if you are willing to welcome us at your offices this week or Monday, Tuesday, the next week, when we'll be around here. We have already some visits scheduled, but we still could visit you, and we'll be really happy to do that. Thank you very much.
Oh, don't come down. So we have 5 minutes for questions. Does anybody have any questions for Javier? Come on, Shervin, you must have a question.
I hope it's not too technical.
Okay. Sorry, yeah.
So you mentioned that you are getting lots of API calls.
Yeah.
And so the underlying cloud environment that you use, how does that scale? Like, are you using AWS? Are you using Google Cloud Platform? You have your own data structure?
We host. I mean, we don't have our own servers, but we host all the data in servers in Germany and France.
Thanks, Shervin, for being the first. Does anybody else have any questions? I have a question. Okay. Yeah, it's exclusively a cloud solution. Yeah.
Hi, Javier. This is Barbara Burbach from NetApp. I was wondering how you manage the different client content types.
You mean the different client?
Yeah. So, like, if I was your client, how would you handle different content types?
Different content types?
Yeah, that's one of the issues that we have today. We have so many different content types.
I don't understand the question. Sorry.
So like, for example, we have XML, we have database XML. We have all different.
Yeah, you mean in terms of file types?
Right.
Yeah, can I just go on I'll show you now in my iPad the file types that we support. Maybe that can help you a bit, right? That's what you're asking for. The different file types and how we handle all that kind of files, you mean, right?
Yes, but we find that we have a lot of customized particularly with XML.
Okay, yeah. So Mensos handles that as well. Yeah, it does.
Sounds like a discussion afterwards.
Yeah, that's more of a discussion afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll visit you. Don't worry.
Any other? One more. We have time for one more question. Hi, Elena.
Thank you so much for coming. So how does this compare to MateCat?
Compared to what?
MateCat.
MateCat. I don't want to talk about MateCat, but as far as I'm concerned, MateCat, it's
okay, we know you're better. But what I'm asking you is, what's the difference?
Okay, as far as I'm concerned, MateCat is not a fully vendor-free platform. At some point, forces you to work with what they want, right? And Mensos is not that. It's completely free. You work with the vendors that you want. So that would be the main difference, for example.
Okay, thank you, Elena. Thanks, Javier.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah, so I was asked about how to tweet about this event, so just use the handle Women in LSNN. That's the main handle for Women in Localization, and then just use the hashtag WL Silicon Valley, all one word.
Okay, so our next speaker. So I'm happy to welcome Spence Green from Lilt. Spence is the CEO of Lilt. It's a provider of interactive MT systems. He received a PhD in computer science from Stanford University in 2014. So welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, that's pretty loud. Okay, thank you for the introduction, Michelle. It's really a pleasure to talk to you. Yeah, so this product started as research at Stanford, and I guess when we looked at the way that MT is used in this industry, we were like kind of really disappointed. And what I'm talking about is post editing. Post editing is just really not a good idea, and people have had you know, like bad user studies of post editing going back to the 1960s all the way up until today. Even though starting in about 2010 it has been shown to make translators faster. The people that advocate post editing, I find, usually haven't actually done it themselves. It's not a very pleasant experience. You know, there's a better way to work with MT, so that's what this is about. Right, so human translation, you know, if you're choosing to do localization, you kind of have two options. You got human translation, and quality is kind of stable. Okay, you search around for a different vendor and a different platform or whatever, but then you're going to kind of get locked in and you get repeatable quality. But it's going to cost you, you know, anywhere from 8 cents a word up to 30 cents a word, depending on the content type. What's interesting is that throughput for translators has been stuck for the better part of a decade at about 2,500 words per day. According to Common Sense Advisory, the most recent survey is 2,684 words per day. And then on the other extreme, you've got machine translation, right? And this is fast and cheap. It's practically free, depending on who you buy it from. But the quality is really variable, depending on the content that you're translating, whether you're using custom MT or not. So there's really, you know, kind of not much between these two extremes besides basic post editing. So how can you really optimize between these two extremes, depending on the content type that you're working on? So that's what this product is about, and it's a fully integrated human translation plus machine translation platform. And what's interesting is that it's really centered around machine translation, and I'll show you that in a second. So like I said, it's based on you know, research we were doing at Stanford. My co-founder I met working on Google Translate. Some of you might know Franz, so Franz works with us as well. He's off sequencing DNA now, so this is how he spends his time thinking about translation. So, you know, you had Google Translate, you know, large-scale generic machine translation. You have human translation. What this platform enables is a third option, where you can trade off between translation speed, translation quality, and translation cost, okay? So it's a fully integrated translation platform, and it's sold for one price, and I'll talk about the price in a minute. And so there are kind of two ways you can use it. If you're an LSP, or in some cases if you're an enterprise and you kind of manage your own supply chain, it's a fully integrated CAT tool, translation memory, an interactive and adaptive MT system, and that's what I'm going to show you in the demo, term-based file filters, lightweight translation management features, and a fully featured API. And there's a new product that's coming out that's going to integrate with this, which is a JavaScript plugin that will let you turn any HTML text area into a predictive typing CAT editor. And I'll kind of show you how this works. This is what the system looks like that I'm going to open. You have a source segment. The translator starts typing, and the system starts responding to them in real time based on what they're typing. Okay, and that's the machine translation system working. So as they type a word, the suggestions are going to change based on what they're doing. And then it learns too. So as soon as the translator confirms the segment, the MT system does an update step. So no more batch retraining. These systems learn incrementally. You never have to retrain them. So this opens up lots of possibilities of things that you can do with this platform and with this way of doing machine translation. So you can accelerate human translation, and I'll show you some results for that. You can centralize all of your data resources. That includes MT systems, term bases, translation memory, all in one location. We're building up the TMS features so you can already manage relatively simple translation workflows. But it also lets you do kind of continuous localization, so having your translation memories and your MT system learning in real time while the translation teams work, if you hook it into different CMS platforms. You can add custom MT to a website, so you can have your translation team or your vendor training MT systems while they work, and you can use that full sentence output on a website by just hitting a standard API, kind of like what is offered by Google Translate. And then we have this new product coming out that's going to allow you to turn any HTML text area into a sort of mini cat predictive typing text area. So this is great for like e-commerce websites if you want to encourage users to translate their listings, or if you have like QA content, or if you have user-generated content of reviews, you can turn any sort of little area into a predictive typing area. So there's one price, it's consumption pricing, it's a full supply chain license. You pay by the word translated. There's full data security, it all runs in the cloud, so you have complete control of your assets, they're encrypted in transit. There's a complete supply chain license, you just pay by the word. It doesn't matter how many people are using it, whether you're using it on your website, it doesn't matter. It's how many words you translate per month. And we offer free 24/7 support that's live in real time in the application. So we had a case study come out earlier in the summer from Get Your Guide, which is a sort of a big travel platform in Europe. It was done actually by E2F, was our LSP partner, which is down in San Jose. And so Get Your Guide wanted to do close to 2 million words in less than 10 days. So we put together 100 translators working in 6 different language pairs. And these are the throughputs of the translators working on the project. So the English to Dutch team, for instance, was averaging over 1,000 words per hour. Now remember I said that the industry average is 2,500 words per day. So we have translators on our platform now translating in the 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 word per day range. And that goes all the way across the different language pairs that they're working on. And we have Get Your Guide's giving a presentation at LocWorld in Montreal next month. And they're going to announce some conversion results of using these translations on their website that are going to be really exciting. So if you go into what happened on that project, you'll find that you start off with a baseline MT system that's a generic engine, and then translators just start translating, or you upload translation memory and the MT system starts learning. And it learns very, very rapidly. So over a baseline system, after 200 sentences, you've gotten a 17% improvement in translation quality, and then just up to 20,000 sentences, which is a relatively mild size for a TM, you've got a considerable quality improvement over the baseline MT system. And that's done with no intervention on the translator's part, the PM's part, the client's part. It just learns as it's used. This is, so it speeds up, so that's how the MT system learns. This is the translation team that was doing English to German, I think, on this project. So the industry average for an 8-hour workday is 335 words per hour, and you had on this project, there was this one German translator translating over 2,000 words per hour, and these are reviewed words per hour. So on the vertical axis is each translator, and the horizontal axis is throughput. So let me just switch to a live demo, and I'll show you how it works. All right, so full screen, there we go. All right, maybe I can zoom in a little bit. All right, there we go, super. So the way you create a custom MT system is you just click Add Memory in our system, and you'll type, now I'm typing with one hand, my engine, let's say. Can I put this here? Sure. All right, let me do that. Okay, can you hear me all right? All right, much better, 2 hands. Okay, so you would create a custom memory. And this concept of a memory in our system is a fully integrated MT system in TM. So you upload parallel data in the form of like a TMX file, and the system will start learning from it in the background. As soon as you create a memory, then you just upload a file, or you send it a file through our API. I'm not going to do that because I'm using another machine. I've already uploaded a file here. It creates a project, the documents in the project. There's some project management features about how you go about assigning this to a linguist. But then it goes off to the translator, and you get this web-based editor. And so I'll show you a couple things here. So this is a pop song, a 1950s pop song, which is pretty different from the baseline domain that the system's trained on. And so on the top row there, you'll see the first verse of the song. Just below that is a typing area where the translator will type. Just below that is the output of the MT system, and below that is what we call next word alternatives. So MT systems generate bunches of alternatives, but it's not really useful to translators to see all of them. So whenever there's an option that's relatively good for the next word they're going to translate, we kind of show those below. So there are a couple things you'll notice here. First of all, this first phrase, which is sung as lonely rivers in English, is kind of just completely botched by the MT system. It gives a literal translation here, and it transliterates instead of translates for the word river. And then there's a sort of a lexical choice issue. This should be to the sea, the way it's sung in English, and the system gets towards the sea, which is semantically a fine translation, but it's just kind of not what we want here. That phrase is repeated in segment number 2, and you see it gives towards the sea again, and then an option of seaward, which is not quite right. And then down here, we have lonely rivers repeating again as part of a different segment, and again, it kind of gets that completely wrong. So instead of basic post editing, where the translator would come in and there'd just be static MT output, and then they just manipulate it, here the translator just starts typing. So I'm going to start typing lonely rivers, and the system's going to select lonely, and I'll hit enter, and it gives a new suggestion for the full translation based on what I've typed so far. So if I delete the Y before I insert lonely, you'll see it says towards the sea, and I hit enter, and now it gives into the sea. So it's getting closer. And then rivers, there's a capitalization problem there, so I'll just type rivers, and now we've got flow to the sea. And so instead of typing this, I can just hit enter to autocomplete. So it's a much more natural process. This is what translators actually like to do. If you open up Microsoft Word and start translating, this is what you would do. There's also a hotkey to accept the whole segment, and then you're done with this translation. It's a very different interaction mode than working with basic post editing. Now here's the thing, that historically the main critique of machine translation in all user studies going back to the 1960s is that the MT systems don't learn. You have repetitions in the document, they translate and fix a translation in segment number 1, that information is useful in segment number 2, and the MT system makes the same error. So watch this. I'm going to confirm this segment, and the MT system is going to do an update step, and all the other suggestions in the rest of the document are going to change. So I'll hit Control Enter, and now you see it gives to the sea instead of towards the sea. And that happens at the segment level. So the MT system is learning in real time while the translator is working. We come down to segment number 4, you see it's also picked up lonely rivers. And so now that translation is completely correct. And I can hit Shift Enter to just take the whole thing. And that's where the acceleration comes from, is that it learns from the translator while they work. Integrated with this, TM is not, translation memory is a fine idea. When you have a repetition, it's better than switching to MT. So if you look in 6 and 7, you have a repetition. Here, the MT output is pretty good. I need your love, that's mostly right. So I'm happy with that. I'll just hit Control Enter. And then when I confirm, if there's a TM match, it shows it in orange with 2 hearts, because that makes people happy. It shows that before backing off to MT. So you can still edit if I want to change that. It'll show me the difference. If there's a fuzzy match, it shows 1 heart and percentage completion. So there are some other features, but that's really the magic, and that's what all the research was about over the last number of years. Like translators, they're an interesting bunch, and they don't often like MT, but we have translators posting to Twitter, and they really like it a lot. So this young woman started translating on our system a couple weeks back, and she's already doubled her throughput just by teaching herself how to use the system. This is one of my favorites. We had this gentleman write in a few weeks ago. He said he's translating so fast that he has to find more clients or increase his hourly rate. So this just opens all kinds of new possibilities for things that you can do with MT. Like, let's say you have a supermassive data set, right? There's somebody we've been talking to who has some QA content. If you kind of have a large data set like this, like you're an e-commerce site or something, if you plot some KPI that you care about on the vertical axis, so let's say it's page views or engagement, you'll find that some of your content gets seen a lot, and then stuff off in the tail doesn't get seen so much. So, if you want to commission human translation for this, and say you have 100 million words, you can do a fraction of this for, sort of a reasonable localization budget at 10, 15 cents a word. What about the whole rest of it? Well, what you can do with this system, one possible use case is you translate a fraction of it, have your vendors translate. The MT system is going to adapt to what they're doing, and then you just use the MT for the rest of it. And if the translators come back in and they want to translate some bit more content, the MT system will learn from that continuously, and you can reuse it on your website. And this sort of thing just hasn't been really available before. So I'll say one more thing. SDL has paid us a big compliment recently. So they've just started promoting what they call adaptive MT, which is a system that has the same intellectual heritage as where this technology comes from. And they're started to promote this as a transformational technology, as the future of language technology. And their announcement was really interesting. So they said, for the first time, machine translation will learn from your corrections. And then they said, in the first for CAT tools in Trados Studio 2017 and the new version of Language Cloud that's coming out in October, will support predictive typing for Asian languages for the first time. So this is, this is really interesting for a couple of reasons. First, the first paper on this sort of incremental MT learning was written in 2006. And various systems have been built over the years, including by some people who went on to SDL and have gone on to some other places. We also have a very high number of high-level SDL people that have accounts on Lilt and have for about a year now. And this goes up nearly to the top. They're corporate. They also follow us on Twitter, which is cool. And we've, we released Chinese back in May. So here's what I want to say. There's SDL Trados and Language Cloud and so on is coming out in October. If you want to upgrade to that, give it a try, try it. What we're giving you a challenge is try our product. Take our product, put it up against Trados Studio, Language Cloud, Microsoft Translator Hub, whatever you want to compare it head-to-head against. I promise you, you'll be very interested to see the results. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Spence. That was awesome. Let's see. I'm going to go. You'll be number 2, okay? All right, here we go.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. Very funny, too. I keep waiting for you to release more languages, Russian, for example.
Yes.
Any word on that?
Yeah, okay, so we have 9 right now. We have 3 more that are being piloted, which are Norwegian, Polish, and we actually have a Russian system trained, but it's kind of pretty miserable right now. So we release a language pair when we can sort of get up to Google Translate, Microsoft Translator Hub baseline quality. So if there's a language pair that we don't support and you're interested in piloting, we've got a bunch of systems sort of in pilot that we're working on. Please come talk to me after this.
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. And taking a challenge on SDL is always, competition is always good. So I have 2 questions for you. One is that the model based on edit distance that the translators use since olden times, there is some advantages to that. The translator can see multiple fuzzy matches and pick one. And the thing is that although your model is pretty innovative and it's very snazzy to look at, but it misses that point. Have you ever thought of that? This is one question. The second question is that regarding, so different MT vendors that I worked with or I talked to, when the question comes up regarding using my data to train someone else's engine, they always avoid the question.
They avoid the question?
Yes.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah. So what are your comments on that?
Okay, so the first topic, showing lots of stuff on the screen. The interface is based on eye tracking research, and if you hook a translator up to an eye tracker, you'll see that their eyes flick all over the screen looking at source and target. So the more stuff you put on the screen, the more stuff they're going to look at. And that time that you spend reading stuff is time that you're not spending translating. So what you want to do is think about it more like a search engine, where it's really the top result that matters. You want to put the most relevant result that you can in front of them. So everything in our system, we take the output of TM, term-based, machine translation, we rank it, we always try to show the best thing. And that's a harder problem, it's a harder machine learning problem to solve, but it gives the translator the best thing to look at while they're working. The second issue about data security, this is like the #1 thing that comes up in our discussions. And there's actually like a considerable amount of skepticism over cloud-based solutions that we find even still. So the deal on our system is that all data is sequestered in your different accounts. We don't share data across different users. It's encrypted in the database, and we don't actually really look at it very much. There's no way that you can get around training a custom MT system without sending your data somewhere. And I would argue that a data center with a person with a gun in front of it is better than, you know, sending it out to some translator's desktop in Thailand where it's going to sit, which is what happens in supply chains right now.
We're actually running a little over, so we're
Sure.
going to switch to the next. So thank you, Spence.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Okay, next up we have Ji Yi from Box, and she's going to tell you about Mojito. So Ji Yi is a senior software engineer at Box. Her job is to help Box to build global products. Her experience includes building localization automation platforms in various places, including Yahoo. And she worked on Yala 3 and Dragonfly there, which were internal tools. She also worked in context translation library for iOS apps. And when she's not writing code, she likes to read, go for walks, and catch Pokemon, and make authentic Korean food. So welcome and thank you.
Right. Thank you everyone for inviting me to speak here. My name is Ji. I'm a developer at Box. This is my first time in Women in Localization, and I didn't know that I'll be presenting something when I first come here, but yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of public speaking, so I was like really nervous, and I was telling my little girl, and she's like, "Mommy, hold my hand, don't worry." Yeah, so yeah, I'm here to present Mojito. Mojito is a free open source localization platform. And before we talk about Mojito, I'd like to talk a little bit about Box, what we do, and why we built Mojito. So when I started to work at Box, my little girl asked me, "Mommy, what do you put in Box?" Toys. She was probably thinking toys, but actually we put files on Box. You can store and manage files online and access them with any device. It's available for everyone, and just like Mojito, it's free. Yeah, I'm so excited to show this new UI because we have just released the new UI. Yeah, you're the very first people to check this out. Let me illustrate how Box works with an example of translation workflow. If you have a file to translate, you upload it to Box. And all you have to do is you invite translators as collaborators. They will automatically get an email invitation, and they can start working on it. As you collaborate, you can make comments, you can assign tasks, and you can track what's changing all in one place, real time. So Box is really cool. Yeah, Box is a global company. People use Box every day. We have customers all over the place, around the world. Now, about half of our users are outside of the United States. We have 10 global products, and we localize them in 22 languages. As a globalization team, our mission is to build global products that works for everyone on the planet. This means making our products feel like as if they were created just specifically for their cultures. One of the ways to do it is to localize our software products. So here is an example of Box mobile app localized in Russian. So how do we do this? In order to build global application, as a developer, you put your strings in one place called resource bundle. And depends on the user's language setting, the application will use the strings from the specific resource bundle. So for English app, it will use the strings in English resource bundle. And for Russian app, it's going to use strings from Russian bundle. So it sounds pretty simple. All you have to do is translate your resource bundle in multiple languages and have your application use it. So what's the problem, right? Here's what we used to do before Mojito. Here's a little developer writing code, writing strings in a file. And when it's ready to translate, the developer will give the file to Localization Project Manager. Then Localization Project Manager will upload it to Box, in our case. And she will contact the translation vendor, where translation vendor will take it from Box, do pre-processing, give it to their own translators, have them translated, do post-processing, upload them to Box. Then Localization Project Manager will get them from Box and then hands it back to the developer, and developer has to manually check them back into the source repository. So who's familiar with this process, or who's doing this now? Right? So the problem is that this process is very manual and inefficient. It involves too many people, and things get broken often, and it's very hard to fix them. At Box, we have 10 global products with 22 components being updated at least once a week. So our Localization Project Manager had hard time managing all this painful process. And yeah, it's no one's dream job to just pass around the files, look at thousands of strings in different locales that you don't even understand, and find errors, right? So because of this, we built Mojito. So how did this change with Mojito? So as a developer, you would just you just write code. You don't have to worry about strings or what's translated, because Mojito will automatically pick up the latest strings, and it will always put localized files for you automatically with the latest translations. For linguists, you just come to Mojito and translate strings or review strings. And the Localization Manager will have everything in one place to manage. So it becomes a lot simpler with Mojito. Mojito has two components. One is command line interface, and the other one is web application. So the command line interface actually connects your resource bundle and Mojito. And it is mainly used to extract strings from resource bundle and generate localized files. And it also has some admin features. So this is Mojito web application. You're looking at repository page. This is the place where Localization Project Manager would come every day and check overall translation progress. Mojito also provides a cool, simple workbench where you can view, search, edit translations online. So are you guys ready for a live demo? Yeah. All right. So this is Mojito web application. Let me log in. And this is the repository page. We have a list of repositories here. They are, you can think of them as containers for your strings and translations. And usually they get mapped to a source code repository. You can click this button and see the translation progress for individual locales. I'm going to demonstrate end-to-end workflow. You create a repository in Mojito, add strings in Mojito, and translate them, and actually generate localized files. So if you're a developer creating a new project, the very first thing you do is onboard with Mojito. So this is the one-time setup that you have to do if you're creating a new project in Mojito. And it's usually run by localization engineer or developer. So what this does is that it will create a repository in Mojito with name, demo, with 2 locales, French and Korean, and its Java properties file, and it will do some error checking for you. So simple. If you go to Mojito, refresh the page, you will see a demo repository created. It has done label because it doesn't have any strings just yet. And if you click this button, we have French and Korean. This is an example of resource bundle that developers would do. For his application, he has 2 strings, sign in and hello user. So we are going to push these strings into Mojito now. So if you go back to the web application, now this done button will disappear because now we actually have strings to translate. We have 2 strings for each language. And now I'm going to switch my hat and I'm going to be a translator. So as a Korean translator, I would click this and go to Workbench. And you will show the strings that I can translate. So what happened just now, does anybody know? How many people have broken translations by translating the placeholder? Mojito actually catches that error and let you not save it. Well, I just saved it, but you can always change it. Right? So now, now that we have translations, we can generate localized files. So now you see that these 2 files appear in the same folder. One is Korean and one is French. If I check the Korean resource bundle, it will have the translation that I just entered. If you check out the French resource bundle, it still has English because we haven't translated them. If you want to do offline translations, you can also go to project request page and request for offline translation. You can select demo project and request translation. So we have demo repository showing up. What's happening in the background is that it will generate xlibs for the strings that needs to be translated, and it will upload the xlib files back to Box. So you see this demo. Yeah, these are the files that vendor can work on. So that is the end of demo, and so with Mojito, our localization process became so much simpler and easier. These are the benefits that Mojito provides. And those CLI commands that I ran to push and generate localized files, it can be actually automated if you integrate it with continuous integration tool like Jenkins, so that you don't have to enter these commands every time. And the end result with Mojito is that we were able to save about 20% of localization cost and 400 plus hours from everyone's time per year. And we have one central localization platform for application localization. Yay, excited people. Yeah. So if you need help, feel free to reach out to us. We are, we're here to help you. And Mojito is available on GitHub. It's yours. You can fork it. You can make changes to customize for your needs. You can always contribute back to us to make Mojito better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really awesome. Now, does anyone have any questions? Ava?
Hi, G. Thank you so much for your presentation. I have a question regarding project and vendor management. It was not clear from your workflow and your demo.
Yes.
How do the translators get to decide what they work on? Are you completely bypassing the translation vendors and just going straight to the translators, or are you emailing your translation vendors to assign someone? How does that step work?
If you have small team of translators, they can actually, you can give them access to Mojito, and they can always log in. They can log in every day, see what needs to be translated, translate them online. If you are actually doing offline translations, it's through Box. So you can share your Box folder, invite translators as collaborators. Does that make sense?
Yes, but basically your project managers at Box go directly to translators. They don't work with translation agencies, right?
Hannah, do you want to answer that question? Hannah is our localization project manager at Box.
So I'm the person who used to suffer from the manual process. What we do at Box is we work with a vendor to translate our stuff. So we have two separate workflows. If you could see in the demo, I don't know if you could go back to the interface where we have to this one, the repository view. So Mojito allows you to mark strings as if they need translation or as if they need review, right? This also can be automated, and depending on what you're trying to do, you can create different types of projects. It's either a translation project or a review project, and what we do at Box, to your actual question, is that we generate files, we put them on Box. Actually, Mojito puts them on Box for us, and then our vendors know where to go to get the files. And then once they upload the files back to Box, it's just a push of a button that we have to do to import them back into Mojito. And then they automatically go through the workflow. So I don't need to worry about, whether, some files have been translated or some strings haven't been translated yet. Mojito does it for me. So all I have to do is to make sure these projects get generated. What you could do alternatively is that, one, you can give access to your small translation team directly to Mojito, or two, you can give your vendor project management access to Mojito, and then they can generate files for you, and get the work come from that. So it's pretty flexible. So whatever you want to do with it, you can do it. May need some adjustment, but this covers most of the the basic workflow that you will encounter in localization, and then if you want to do adjustments, you can, but it's pretty ready to use.
Right, Mojito is very flexible. You can configure it many ways.
Thank you.
Anybody
Thank you.
else?
Thank you, Anna.
Sure, Vince.
Since you mentioned Russian, by the way, thanks you very much for the great presentation and open sourcing it so everybody can customize it and it can improve and it can have a life of its own.
Sure.
So you mentioned Russian, that you've done Russian for Box. So Russian has complex rules of plurals, right?
Right.
So how did you handle it in Box and through Mojito?
If the resource bundle, if your resource bundle handles plurals messaging format, Mojito does it. Mojito currently supports messaging format for Java properties and plurals supported in Android file formats. We're not there with iOS just yet, but you're more than welcome to write code and contribute back to us. Yep.
So thank you so much, G. I'm sure if others have questions, you can ask her during our networking time right after this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just have just a few closing remarks, and then we can get to our networking, and there's more food. So here we go. One thing I do want to mention is that we are videoing this, and we will make it available on Meetup and other social media. So if you want to send it to friends or you want to rewatch parts of it, you can. So that's going to be available soon. And the presentation will be on the video, right? So, okay. There we go. There we go. So I just want to mention, if you are interested in hosting an event or sponsoring events, we would love to hear from you. Just talk to any of the leadership team. Also, we are planning to have this year a New Year's event rather than before, like a December event. We're going to have a January event. So please watch. We don't have the exact details yet, but please watch Meetup for the details, and also on social media we'll be announcing it. We also are actually hosting a table, a Women in Localization table. Sabine will be there, Sylvia, Hannah, at Brand to Global. Is a conference that's coming up in September, and they also have a discount code for us at Women in Localization for 50% off, either 1 day free or 50% off on the 2 days. So if you want to know about that, is that right? It's 25% off. I apologize. But anyways, it's still a very exciting looking conference. So if you're interested in that, ask one of us leaders for the team, or we also are posting that on social media. And I think Hannah already has posted it, but we'll repost it. Also want to mention that we will have a survey that we're going to send out. And the survey is really to collect information about our members, to understand what are the types of events that you want us to do, what locations are good for you. The Bay Area is so huge. What works for you? Does San Francisco work for you? Does South San Jose work for you? We need to know so that we can have our events in the right place and the right topics. So we really want to hear from you guys, and we're going to be sending you an email with this survey link, and we're also going to be posting it on social media. So enjoy the food and the networking in the back, and thank you so much, speakers. Javier, Spence, and G, you guys did a great job, and it was very interesting. So thanks, everybody.